Hi there, I'm Irk, and this is my channel, Get Irked. In this episode, is Rivian still an electrifying investment, or has the electric vehicle space just short-circuited? In this episode, we're going to take a look at Rivian with the ticker symbol RIVN. If you're watching this, you probably already decided that you do want to invest in Rivian, but if you'd like to learn more about the company, check out my other video that's at the end of this video, which gives you more background on the company. In this episode, we're revisiting Rivian. I'm going to show you a buying plan of what I would do if I didn't currently hold shares in the position, and then we'll go over my own position and where it's come from since the last update, as well as my plans for it in the future. We last checked in Rivian at the beginning of 2022, where it was currently at $87.33, and as you can see, it's come a long way since then, having a really bad year. Rivian hit its bottom in May down here at $19.25, which is actually pretty remarkable given that the rest of the market got hit really hard in September, and Rivian found support at a much higher level. At the beginning of October, Rivian found a low at $31.01. Now that doesn't mean that low is going to hold. I never trust any bottom, including that $19.25. But it's a good sign that Rivian might actually be developing a base. So as a buying plan, what I like to do is start by drawing a Fibonacci retracement from its recent low to its recent high to find levels of support where we might be able to add to the position if it pulls back. As you can see, this Fibonacci retracement gives us a lot of levels of support, with this one at 38.2%, showing that there's a lot of price action here, and this might be a place where Rivian will find support again. If you were feeling particularly aggressive, I'd actually start with the low of this day at $33.01 as my first buy, but given how volatile the market is right now and how volatile Rivian is, I'd start with a 25% allocation instead of my typical 50%. I'd then save the remaining 75% to make additional buys on the way down, each buy being 10% and then reserving 5% as a cash position in case Rivian really sells off hard. Since our first buy would be right here at $33 and the 50% retracement is at $30.06, I'd actually skip the 50% retracement and go down to the 61.8% retracement where you can see there was a lot of support in the past, but I'd actually use the open of this day as my next buy at $28. From there you can pull down to the 78.6% retracement, but there's a lot of support above it, so I would shoot for one of these 2 days and maybe even be a little more aggressive and shoot for this day here at $24.83 as my third buy. After that, we've got the $19.25 low back here in May, but you might want to switch to a shorter time frame to see if there's support above that low. In circumstances like this, I like to use the 15-minute time frame, and you can see we can pull all the way back to its low in May to find levels of support above the low that we found. In this particular case, you can see there's a 15-minute candle here that has a low that's even lower than where we were, down here at $18.48, and this will happen from time to time depending on the charting software you're using. Even still, I would aim for above the low, and you can see these two 15-minute candles both found support at the same spot, so I'd probably use $19.83 as my next buy, and then follow that up with $18.48 as my following buy. You can see that at Rivian's low, we'd actually still have a 25% allocation following my rules. We'd buy 25% at $33, 10% at each level down, and that would only give us a 75% position. What I would do from here is to go even lower and see what kind of Fibonacci retracement support we have at lower levels. And you can see we have support down here at $13.37, so I would use around there as my next buy. That means we have an 85% allocation at this point, and what you could do is you could take that 127% retracement and this 161.8% retracement and divide the difference. Doing this gives us another buying opportunity at $9.64. That would give us a 95% allocation, and then we'd save that 5% remainder to buy at $5.90. If Rivian never sold off that low, then what I have is what I'd have, and I'd take the remaining cash I had originally allocated to this position and use it in a different position in the future. My last video update was January 6th of 2022, and at that point, my position was at $107.75 a share, with me just making a buy on the 6th at $83.75. I used very small quantities when I was buying in stages in Rivian because I knew that the EV sector is volatile and Rivian would be volatile because it was so new, and that the potential for extreme sell-offs would be there in a very strong way. Starting in January sell-off, I made a buy at $68, which lowered my per share cost 7.38% to $99.80. $50. After that, I made 3 individual buys in March, with my first at $50.60, my second at $41.60, and my third at $35.65. These 3 buys lowered my per share cost to $74.85, which represented a 25% reduction from my last buy in January. And from here, it was time to let Rivian run a little bit to see what kind of price action it would give us. The market volatility did not disappoint, and Rivian continued to sell off through 2022 until it bottomed in May. As you can see, I made another 3 buys from March until its bottom, with my first on April 21st at $33.85, my next on May 9th at $25, and then I nearly caught the bottom on May 11th with a buy at $19.85. The 3 buys lowered my per share cost to $59.40, a 20.64% reduction from my last buys in March. And you can also see the value of buying in stages and not going all in all at once, because my first buy was at $127, which means my current per share cost represents a 53.22% reduction from that first buy. From here, my next buy target is $27.90, and I know that's quite a bit higher than the bottom, but it's because Rivian's had a lot of positive news catalysts recently, and it's developed a base at a higher level than that bottom. My next sell target is at $65.40, and the reason for this is that it's higher than my cost basis, and it's below the next level of resistance that Rivian might see on its way up. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.